here. I'll give the answers. As far as the true false, I'm only going to answer or give you answers to the false ones because the true are correct. So question 3. Eutrophic conditions occur when too few nutrients enter into a system. That's false. That would be when too many nutrients enter into a system. Question 5. Cyanobacteria belong to the domain Prokarya. I got some of you on this one. Prokarya is not a domain. It's a group, but not a domain. So that's why that one is wrong. Question 6. Anaerobic bacteria use oxygen as their terminal electron acceptor. That's false because they don't use oxygen. 7 is false. Primary treatment utilizes microorganisms to convert solid organic matter into organic matter, material, and cell mass. That's a description for secondary treatment, not primary treatment. 10 is false. In most cases, the bacterium with the shortest reproductive time will be outcompeted for resources. No, actually, they're going to be the winners. They're going to outcompete the others. 17 is false. The consumption of some microorganisms can lead to a foodborne intoxication. No, if you're consuming the organism, that's a foodborne infection. If you're consuming the toxin, then that's the intoxication. And 19 is false. Water availability is an extrinsic factor that can influence microbial growth on the food. No, it's actually an intrinsic factor. Multiple choice, 21. Which of the following best fits the description of saprotrophic eukaryote? That would be C, fungi. Which of the following would be the most likely source for a foodborne infection caused by E. coli? That would be A, undercooked hamburger meat. Which of these organisms releases an exotoxin that causes severe diarrhea? None of those. So that would be D. Which of these is an extrinsic factor influencing microbial growth on food? That would be A, oxygen availability. Which of the following could be described as non-living? That would be C, a phage. Which method of classification is most useful when determining taxonomic relationship? That would be C, ribosomal RNA studies. A recent study found this virus in the mouth of 7% of the population. That would be B, HPV. He was the first to champion the need for a wastewater removal system. That would be D, Edwin Chadwick. Oral rehydration therapy is an effective treatment for the following conditions. C, severe diarrhea. Which of the following treatment processes involves the activity of methanogens? That would be B, anaerobic digester. 31. An organism described as a facultative anaerobe grows in the presence of oxygen, grows in the absence of oxygen, carries out fermentation. So D, all of those. Many contain an envelope composed from the cytoplasmic membrane of the infected host cell. That would be B, an animal virus. In an aquatic habitat, the lower zone will consist of B, heterotrophs. The pandemics of Vibrio cholera during this time led to the installation of wastewater removal systems. That would have been the mid-1800s. Which of these structures is associated with the fungal lifestyle? None of those are. Endospores are strictly bacterial, not to be confused with fungal spores. Which of the following is a symbiotic relationship between fungi and plant? That would be C, the mycorrhizae. Lichens are fungi and algae. Rhizobia are bacteria and plant. Only mycorrhizae are fungi and plant. Which of the following is a habitat for methanogens? All of those are. Which of the following has a nucleus and organelles? In this case here, you have to identify Plasmodium as being the eukaryote. Yersinia, Vibrio are both bacteria, so they're not going to have a nucleus. Influenza is a virus. It doesn't have any organelles. 39. Organisms that do not require oxygen belong to which major group? In this case here, you're talking about B, the anaerobic chemoorganotrophs. Which of the following is not a secondary treatment process? In this case here, the anaerobic digester is not a secondary treatment process. 41. Cyanobacteria are C, oxygenic phototrophs. Sulfur oxidizing bacteria, 42, are going to be E, aerobic chemolithotrophs. Lactic acid bacteria are B, anaerobic chemoorganotrophs. Methanogens are going to be A, anaerobic chemolithotrophs. And 45 is going to be D, aerobic chemoorganotrophs. 46 has a nucleus and organelles. That's B, eukaryote. 47 is an obligate parasite. That's a virus. It has to infect the cell. 48 causes bubonic plague. That's going to be A, bacterium. 49 causes malaria. That's going to be B, a eukaryote. Plasmodium is a eukaryote. 50 can infect one and is infected by the other. That's going to be A, bacterium. It can infect a eukaryote. It is infected by a virus. 51, transferred from infected fleas. That would be A, Yersinia pestis. 52, killed half the population of Europe during the mid-1300s. That's going to be, again, A, Yersinia pestis. 53, releases an exotoxin as a result of being lysogenized. That's going to be C, Vibrio cholera. 54, mutates seasonally. That's influenza. Excuse me. 55, requires a large consumption of cells. That's going to be C, Vibrio cholera. 56, these organisms have pseudopodia. I was looking for amoeba. 57, term that describes a virus that is transmitted from animal to human. Zoonosis, zoonotic. I was very lenient here with a lot of what you put down, giving you half credit for pretty much saying ZOO. When a body of water has low oxygen due to eutrophic conditions, hypoxic or dead zone. I also accepted dead zone as an answer there. Now the essays. Question 59, explain the concept of microbial succession using unpasteurized milk as an example. And I think this is where a lot of you ran into trouble with these essay questions, not really knowing what the question was asking, maybe because you didn't really understand the terms. Microbial succession, and I know I put it up on the board, is a process by which the microbial populations change in an ordered and predictable manner based on their biological activity. Their activity changes the environment such that they can no longer live there, but it favors the growth of other environments. And then really all I wanted you to say with regards to that is that the growth of an organism can change the environment to inhibit their growth but favor the growth of others. And then with regards to the pasteurized milk part, if you could just have told me the 4 microbes that were involved in the process that went on. So we had the lactococcus that used up or used the lactose, produced lactic acid, lowered the pH. Then you had the lactobacillus that used the rest of the milk sugars, and once those ran out, it stopped growing. Not because it continued to increase the pH, because it didn't. The pH stayed around 5, and remember, lactobacillus likes that acid condition anyway. So it wasn't the acidity that inhibited its growth, it's the fact that it ran out of lactose that it inhibited its growth. Once those microbes couldn't grow, that allowed for yeast and molds to grow and use the lactic acid. Once the lactic acid has been consumed, the pH comes back up to 7, and now bacillus is able to utilize the rest of the milk proteins. That would have been a complete answer. Few of you gave me a complete answer, but I gave credit where you had mentioned the milk proteins, or excuse me, you mentioned the milk sequence or the microbes in that sequence, what they were doing. Question 60, list 3 phases of wastewater treatment and briefly describe the process by which BOD is reduced or microbes are removed. Okay, first thing, list means just that. Give me a list. So you should have given me, for this answer here, list the 3 phases. I wanted you to tell me primary, secondary, and tertiary. So those were the 3 phases right there. And then the other half of it, describe the process in which BOD is removed. Well, here BOD is removed by gravity in the clarifier, right? As the big chunks settle down. Here, BOD is removed by microbial activity. Many of you went on to explain trickling filter towers and activated sludge tanks and lagoons. All very well, but not really necessary for the answer. Really, all you have to do is say secondary microbial activity. And then third, tertiary, sand filters removed microbes and, so you could say sand filters, excuse me, and chlorine didn't lower BOD, but removed microbes. So that would have been what I was looking for with this one here. Many of you went on to explain the whole process of wastewater treatment, which is great, but it wasn't really what was necessary. Finally, question 61 puzzled me by how many of you missed it. List the different types of food poisoning in a microbe that can cause each one. There's only two types of food poisoning: food intoxication and foodborne infection. And so that alone gets you 2 points. Then if you say E. coli causes infection, Staph aureus causes intoxication, or Clostridium causes intoxication, or Salmonella causes infection. Those are what I was looking for, only worth 4 points. If you said, you know, E. coli or any kind of microbe that might cause infection, I think I gave you 1 point for that. Total up your points, make sure that I counted them correctly. What you'll note is that I have to add, because the multiple choice are worth 2 points each, I have to go back and add 1 more point for every one that you got correct. So when you look at the total here, you'll see the number that you have on the front page, plus the extra points you get for the multiple choice. Then you'll have the backside, and then you'll have your total.
Can we keep these?
Yes?